on the other side, they can force the battle with the N2.
Yeah, it almost feels like 2017 Fnatic is trying to be here, where they would have moments where, okay, they'd be neck and neck with a team, sometimes they might fall a little bit behind, but when they decided to fight post-10, they would just win that fight handedly. And it seems like that winning the fight handedly when the call's been made isn't working out for them and keeps putting them behind.
I mean, to be fair, everybody, of course, remembers the dominant Fnatic of the past, but the thing is, if you remember them at the beginning of 2016, before they were this dominant force, their biggest problem was actually that they were a little bit undisciplined. They were always fighting, they were always going into battles where they had a disadvantage, and they learned to be a bit more patient over time and to really only take the battles that they want to take, and that just made them stronger and stronger. So currently I really feel that in terms of their evolution as a team, they still find themselves in the spot where they have to make these decisions a bit better. So I believe that Fnatic can grow a lot stronger than they currently are here, but it's definitely something that is pretty difficult to accept and also a bit weird if you remember them as this super dominant team that we saw towards the second half of last year of 2017.
Abathur makes it through the bans. We had a different Zerg get banned out in Haka, so Abathur coming online for Fnatic.
Fourth time that we have him in Europe actually played. Banned out a lot, but played very little.
So Abathur on Sky Temple. One of those heroes that in the early game you expect to take a little bit of a loss occasionally when it comes to forwards putting damage on do, unless you're able to get really good trades in a one-on-one scenario. But post-in, he becomes an annoying hero to deal with, the ability to jump into the fight on any character, the ultimate evolution, but also him split pushing on the outside of the map when a team is fighting over a temple is a great attribute to have whenever you're able to pick him up.
And just to give you an idea, he currently has an involvement rate in Europe in 70. He's part of the draft in 74% of the games, and he's only played in 4% of them. So 70% of the time he's banned out, and that also you have to also think about. On Tomb, he's usually not a concern because the map is so small. So if you would just take Tomb out of the equation, he sits somewhere it's like nearly 100% involvement rate, nearly on the same level as we see Genji and Greymane. So this is one of the few times where he finally makes it through the draft, and maybe that's the weapon that Fnatic needs here. Yeah. So we're going to see what kind of impact that has. Dignitas, by the way, holds true to their strategy. Ban out Greymane. Take one of the tools of Fnatic away that they used throughout the entire year and that they really rely upon to get these quick blow-up kills, and has worked out perfectly for them, so why change it?
And then also the double whammy there with the Greymane being taken out as Abathur is picked up by Fnatic. Typically, if you have an Abathur in your draft, you're trying to figure out how you make Abathur work, you need to pick up heroes that he can clone that can be effective with. Greymane is one of those heroes. Other heroes that come to mind right away, Arthas, Jaina, Johanna, decent degree if you want to have a good hat target, but people that can be cloned and be effective in the fights, or targets that can stay in the fight for a long time and allow the hat to get them value. And Muradin's actually one of those heroes that is one that you would love to have Abathur sitting on you for a while.
Yeah. And not only that, you have Genji with the mix as well.
Yep.
So Genji can really, through his mobility, put himself into a spot where Abathur gets even more value out of it, and using the symbiote. So that's a good pick on Fnatic's side. Bans are, on the other hand, now becoming extremely important, because I want to see if Fnatic targets Tracer. Since Tracer is still something that we could see here, Blaze also comes to mind for the bot lane. If he's taken away, what is Fnatic going to use then? Are they going to go into Leoric again? Are we going to see maybe Arthas? We've seen the Muradin and Arthas combo, especially on the first weekend of HGC play here in 2018. Since then, not quite as popular anymore, but can still be strong. And Bad Benny plays a pretty mean Arthas on that offlane.
Lucio, banned here, meaning that Dignitas wants to be able to force fights and keep Fnatic locked down. Usually a good tactic against an Abathur composition. If he's ever sitting in a lane or has just rotated or just used his hat, there are spots where he can force a fight with a 5v4 before he can respawn. So not a bad pickup there for Dignitas as they ban out the ability for Fnatic to disengage quickly.
Very likely that Fnatic is heading into Rega with this.
I was wondering about this Cassia.
Cassia.
We saw the Valkyrie combo pulled off multiple times yesterday for Dignitas. One that they have obviously put into a lot of work. They had perfect moments where they found a target, locked it down, and burned it quickly. So Cassia has been deleted here, as Fnatic will make sure that she's not available for them.
Cassia is a really interesting hero now, because we have seen her only 4 times in Europe, and every single time she was played by a different team. So we have Fnatic with 1 game, we're seeing Dignitas with 1 Cassia game, Method and Diamonds can also play 1 Cassia game each, and all 4 of them are victories. So not really played a lot, But no matter who plays her, if she fits into the draft, she does really, really well right now.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is you have to make sure she fits into the draft. You can't just pick her randomly as a first pick, a second pick. Having mages on the opposing team will make it
There's Tracer
difficult.
now, as expected.
There she is. So Tracer now here with the Malfurion and the Tyrael.
I'm not gonna lie, I would have let them have Cassia. I would have, personally, just from personal perspective, not saying that it's wrong in by any means, but I would have been more concerned about Tracer than I would have been concerned about Cassia. So, Cassia has a fine ban, but I'm really curious if Fnatic can stop Tracer here. Blaze for the bot lane doesn't really surprise too much. You can't ban it out all, so at this point Fnatic was probably already well aware. Probably we're going to see Blaze here again. But yeah, so Blaze and Tracer taken.
For me, I like the Cassia ban. I know it's kind of a hard one though, right?
Yeah.
You have Tracer for
Exactly.
Wake, but like when I saw that Cassia yesterday,
it's a lesser of two evils thing.
Yeah.
Like, what do you take here?
well, they decided to allow Tracer here. At least Tracer, you can have moments where maybe you can pop her if she overextends a little bit too much. Granted, it's kind of hard for that to happen when you see Snitch and Poik on the opposing side.
I would have just gone with the numbers.
Yeah.
Dignitas plays way more Tracer than they play Cassia, so there's always the chance that if you ban a Tracer, they don't even go into Cassia. I mean,
Cowers from Sesame Street, he likes numbers, so he follows numbers when it comes to picking his drafts.
You can call me the Count from now on. I just need a cape.
The Count Door, that's what we're going to call you.
Count Door?
The Count Door. Fourth of pick coming in, there's that Kerosene, the aggressive composition coming online, and one we have not seen for a couple weeks now here in Europe. Sonya, picked up for Fnatic.
I need that as a Photoshop, by the way.
Count Door.
Count Door.
A couple of fangs hanging out of your teeth and a big cape on the back.
Has to be a good cape, though.
Yeah, it has to be good fangs, too. You can't have any pleb fangs, man. You gotta have them nice and sharpened.
Sonya is back. Fnatic played her only once so far, and that was a win. But overall, like, if you just look at the stats, it's Zealots that just played a ton of Sonya at the beginning. It was Zarmini just playing her every time. But outside of Zealots, there's not really a lot of Sonya games in Europe. So it's super cool that we have her back here. And I mean, with Abathur in the mix, she becomes really, really scary. If the Symbiote build is on and Sonya just starts spin to win, there's also not a lot of interrupts against it, then you can really keep her alive for absolute ages with Abathur, and that creates a lot of space. So considering the rest of their draft, I actually really like Sonya with this.
Yeah, and there isn't any hard CC here to lock her down in the middle of a whirlwind, which you want to have. So we should have Sonya being able to do whatever she pleases in a fight, which is something that you want with this composition. You want that Kerosene, Murd, and Sonya to be in the front line, and Abathur to only worry about the Genji. And the final pickup will be the ETC, so some CC here, and also some disengage available for Dignitas.
Yeah, ETC in this case really helps them because, as you said before, we don't really have too much hard CC against Sonya. I mean, you have Jet Propulsion, of course, but still, if ETC is in there, that makes it a lot easier to make Sonya life harder. So I think that's definitely an adjustment that Dignitas made. ETC, of course, great hero regardless, but in this case, it works even better for them.
So, looking into the draft here, Fnatic puts an aggressive draft on the line. The Murd and the Sonya being able to be on the front line, having Abathur help out when need be, should allow them to get enough damage in to make pop somebody in the kills. But if Dignitas is able to weather the storm and keep that front line under lock and make sure not to allow Genji to get into a spot where he jumps in the back line, they can control him well. But Fnatic is definitely bringing the aggression.
Yeah, they definitely are. And I like that part. I really like when we fight about the temples, and I think it's really great that they are getting a bit of Sonya play here. It's just that they need to really make sure that they only take the fights where they feel, okay, this is a good fight for us to take. I mean, you can't be too hesitant, you can always stay back, but at least try to not fight a talent up anymore. Because they tried that twice now, and they lost both of them, and every single time it happened, they all of a sudden found themselves 2 levels behind. So you can't really do that. Also, I want to see that with Abathur, they are able to keep up in experience with Dignitas. They can't fall behind if they are playing Abathur here now.
Well, let's go into it. Game number 3. Fnatic, can they earn their first win in this best-of-5 series against Dignitas, or will Dignitas close it out?
Game number 3, and we are ready to roll. The Mechathor is ready, and to the left, Fnatic with Breeze on Murden, Smexy on Karazim. We have Mena on Mecha Abathur, Quatnix on Genji, and Bad Benny on Sonya.
On the right side, in the red, Dignitas. Snitch playing ETC, Wubby on Blaze, Zilia on Malfurion, Poik on Tracer, and JPL playing Tyrael.
Can I just say that Mecha Abathur is by far the best of the Mecha skins?
I think I agree with you. You know, you and I have our decisions and opinions on the Rhaegar and the Tyrael, which one's better, etc., but I think unanimously across the world, Mecha Abathur is the best.
When I saw the video back then, I was actually very hyped for Mecha Tyrael, but I don't like the in-game model. It's one of those things where in the video I really enjoyed it. I was just like, oh my god, this is so cool. But in-game, I don't know. I feel like there's like very different opinions on Mecha Tyrael, but the Abathur, oh, perfect. And also perfect is the engage here. Quick kill against Karazim. Can't even get away. Dignitas with an early kill in the game. A very aggressive move towards the middle of the map. Nice stuns, layering the CC and allowing Tracer to take the target down here. Not quite what Fnatic hoped for when they started map number 3.
Yeah, Smexy having a bit of a hard time here in the early game, getting picked off. Normally you don't see that quick fight in the early game when you have an Abathur composition. I can see why Fnatic went for it. They do have a lot of firepower here early between the Sonya, Muradin, and Karazim forcing a fight, and they have a lot of movement to get out, but just wasn't enough as Dig was able to lock down a target and get a kill.
Yeah, a bit of aggression from Fnatic now themselves. Smexy also gets hit by the bomb. Poik just throwing out the damage whenever he can here, trying to keep them low. Tyrael, of course, once again with a level 1 staple in the build. Justice for all, the quick shields coming in for everybody here. And yeah, this is just a matter of how is Fnatic able to set up during the first and second temple phase now. Are they going to be a bit more successful after level 10? Quacknick's under pressure, but Smexy and Breeze are already helping out and try to put some pressure on the Poik himself. The problem is that JPL and Xaylia have an easy time between the shields and the heals to keep Tracer alive.
Ooh, nice read there from Breeze, land that Stormbolt. Poik's able to get away. And speaking of Point, we've mentioned it in the past, but one of the #1 tips that Poik has mentioned when you are playing Tracer, do not be afraid to throw out that pulse bomb. Toss it out. Let it be used as harassment. Let it be something that you just throw out because it's coming up, because you can charge that puppy quickly, especially with that level 1.
Yeah. Also, outside of that, early camps taken again up to the top. Night camp is now being claimed by Sonya, trying to make sure that gets his jungle power in. And in terms of experience, Dignitas has taken a level 4, and I said earlier that Fnatic needs to make sure they don't fall behind experience, and I should have clarified that a bit. If Dignitas takes structures, it's obvious that Dignitas will take a slight lead. But in terms of lane minions, that's what I really want to see. That Fnatic is always present with Abathur to soak the lane experience with either the body or the symbiote head, and that Dignitas doesn't gain any experience advantages just by rotating faster. If you have a global and you have Abathur, if you have a symbiote, then you need to make sure that you have, at least in that department, the same experience amount. But structure damage, that's something where Dignitas can exploit some of the early game weakness that Abathur sometimes brings in.
Abathur will be able to soak there, especially when no globally on the field. Falstad, Dahaka can make it difficult. Stage dive might change things up at level 10 later on, but for the early game, try and do your best to soak that body experience, as Caldor was mentioning. Smexy waiting a little bit before grabbing that night camp. Gonna try and have it react to the night camp of Dignitas that should be pushing the top here.
In an ideal world, you want the night camp just in your own tower range when the 2 night camps collide. Dignitas is a level ahead nearly. Sonya is at the bot lane here. So Dignitas already... Oh my god, Poik.
Wow.
Gets barely out of this. So we have more or less an exchange of temples. And with the structures going down, Dignitas has taken a lead that is actually more significant than I thought they would. Also, Abathur has gone into Toxic Nest build. So we don't see a symbiote focus with the build right now, not even Sonya. Nice aggression against Xaylia. ETC moves in, and once more, the roots on the ground. Breeze gets the bomb, should be able to move out just barely, but Poik follows it up. And Breeze barely moving away.
Almost having that parting give connect. Breeze will be able to heal on up, especially with that level 1 that he's grabbed 3rd win. So won't mind that harassment too much. Bad Binny. Taking a bit of a trade here in the middle between Whoopi and Tyrael, but with the Abathur hat coming at the last second, Dignitas is forced to back away, and Fnatic grabs the remaining shots.
Yeah, they get the shots and they also get some extra soak through Abathur the bot lane, but Fnatic is insanely far behind in experience. That's actually getting crazy here. I'm really wondering where exactly they lost all that EXP. This is insane.
Well, they do have a big wave top, also losing turrets hurt, so as long as the hat from out there is able to soak that, never mind, they brought a few over, that'll be helpful, but it's still a level, you're right, they are definitely missing out on that.
Yeah, so I just double-checked the map a bit, and it's mainly they lost the towers at the top and they lost also in the middle. So it's really structure damage that did all of that. The second kill now coming in, the one against Genji this time, of course, doesn't help either. And now it's time for the 4 to maybe fall as well. But most of the experience lead that we're having on the side of Team Dignitas is simply by towers that they were able to take down. Some lane experience probably too, but Dignitas has taken the mid lane, the mid towers, they've taken the top towers, and the only tower that so far I could find with Fnatic got a structure kill in was in the middle. So Dignitas at a 1.5 level lead now, thanks to the 4 that they just dropped at the top. And I mean, I hate to say it, but Fnatic is getting wrecked right now.
They're going to get 10 too, well before the next temple phase. Do they go for an aggressive boss here? Is that something you risk against an Abathur composition with you having the heroics? I mean, you'll have ETC with Mosh Pit control, you'll have Tyrael as well.
I think they can definitely do it.
Hang on though, Snitch
Especially
taking the
if they have
pressure.
the time. If Snitch falls, that would be good for them. Can they get... Unbelievable.
Xaylia with the save, last second Twilight Dream. Quacknick's even almost falling here. Tracer's going to go for it. Stage dive comes out. Breeze will be the next target. He's taking some damage, gets an Abathur hat, but he falls.
Yeah, if they get the kill against Snitch, that would have been great here. But now Snitch is able to move away from this one, and things are rough. Also, we haven't really talked about one thing too much. This is the second time that we see Dignitas with the triple warrior comp. So we talked about this on, I think, the second play day with a few of the players, and it is back then most already agreed that we are going to see triple warrior a lot more. And this is just another example of that happening. So now that double support is not as strong any longer, we're having again a triple warrior composition from Dignitas, second time that they played it, and they're just wrecking Fnatic right now. Sonya is down up to the top. We saw Muradin fall. You're 2 levels ahead, more than that even. They can make a play for boss. The temple is up. Right now, it's really Dignitas just doing whatever they want. At this point, I mean, they literally can do whatever they want now.
For a little bit longer. They still have a half a level. 10 will hit, and Fnatic will then have a spot where they can get a fight. But you're right. They are just doing whatever they would like. ETC's in the top, clearing out. Tyrael is pushing in the middle lane. Blaze is easily grabbing the temple to the bottom to work on that fort to give them a level 13 lead. Bit of a pause coming in real quick for Breeze.
I mean, think about one of the things that we talk about so much, and it's the structural advantage that you have on the map. Since the objective is attacking structures directly, and you don't simply have a Dragon Knight or an Immortal or a Punisher pushing for you, but the structures are targeted whenever you hold the temple. It's really important how many structures you have on the map. And just look at that mini-map. 2 forts are gone. Dignitas holds on to some of their towers still. Fnatic is insanely far behind. And now Quacknick's at the top is again in trouble. There's everything layered, a quick kill, even Twilight Dream being used because they can. Taking the kill against Genji, and that's kill number 5. 5 versus 0. The 3rd fort falls at the bot lane, and as Fnatic grabs 10, Dignitas is closing in on 13.
Fnatic grabs Haymaker, hoping that'll help them out in fights. They do get a pick on Tracer, which will help dampen the triple warrior composition from Dignitas, but it's only 20 seconds. Death timers are still low, and Wubby still have control of the bottom lane. He got that entire temple.
Yeah, I mean, they got a kill at least, but for now, Fnatic is really about to think, okay, how do we do this? And this is already a bit of a YOLO attempt here. You are 2.5 levels behind. You have to do something, and the question really is, what are you doing? Are you trying to force fights? Are you trying to force a boss while there's still 1 hero down? ETC can, of course, jump in. Fnatic is taking a major risk, but at this point, they're just saying, guys, if we don't take a massive risk, we're going to lose this anyways. So they will have to fight over this, but with Bunker ready and also Sanctification, I just don't see them winning it unless they get a kill right now.
Stage dive comes in. Here comes ETC. The Bunker pops down to keep Tyrael alive. Tyrael gets the armor, Breeze the target. He gets focused down. Mene in the Ultimate Evolution clone is attempting to get on the back line, but he's doing 0 damage right now as Xaylia continues to heal it out, and the boss goes easily over to Dignitas.
Yeah. Fnatic is desperate. They really just look at this and say, okay, we're 2 levels behind, what can we do? There's no temples up. Do we force a big team fight? Do we try and sneak a boss in as they... Keep in mind, they started the boss when Tracer died, so they know the death timers were low, but they thought maybe we can fool them, maybe they don't check it. I feel they're in full desperation mode here. And as the fight goes, you can already see there's very little chance. Mane is trying to pressure the backline. He doesn't get anything done there. There were a few moments during the game where Fnatic was close to killing targets. They nearly killed Malfurion once at the top, couldn't confirm the kill. ETC was on his last hit point in one of the engages and also survived. That's definitely opportunities that Fnatic had to maybe turn this around. But now we're looking at a 9-minute game where Dignitas takes an easy keep already.
Yeah, easy keep. Maybe looking towards the core. They don't have Sanctification, but they do have a healthy front line. Bunker goes down. They pick on Genji. Genji's not up for 20 seconds. Breeze gets a Haymaker and knocks him behind a keep. But sadly, it's a Tyrael. He'll Eldruin's away. Goes straight for the core. Big sounds coming in from Xaylia to help secure a couple of kills. Smexy's able to dash out, but Muradin not so lucky.
This is a 4-level difference. Dignitas is absolutely dominating this right now. I mean, this is crazy. 9 kills against 1. They're going in and they're absolutely bodying Fnatic here. This is not only a victory, this is a massive statement. This is like, you guys can do whatever you want, but Europe belongs to us.
And Dignitas